My opponent said that gas prices depended on the LECD or something. No? You don't know? The supply of gasoline is largely determined by the price of oil. The price of oil can be affected by both supply and demand. Things that affect the supply of oil include wars, terrorist attacks, industrial accidents, and the actions of oil cartels such as OPEC. If any of these things interfere with the supply of oil, it may cause the price of oil to rise, and therefore cause the price of gasoline to rise. They say it's the year 2030 a lot, but the truth is it will only take about 10 years to do that, and yet they still use that as an excuse. From an article on AWR.org, they quote, if President Clinton hadn't bowed to Wilderness Society demands and vetoed in 1995 legislation, we'd be producing 1 million barrels a day from ANWR right now. That equals to the U.S. imports from Saudi Arabia at $50 billion annually. They tell us that even if we start drilling now, it will still take 10 years to start recovering oil. I once heard a quote say, the best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago. The second best time is now. Well, the best time to drill for oil was 10 years ago, so the second best time is obviously now. My opponent says that a lot of the oil drilled is small. If we were to drill here in the United States, it's small compared to the whole world's supply of oil. According to a chief executive and co-founder of C12 Energy, Kurt Stenhouse, he was quoted saying, I must be clear that I do believe the United States should expand domestic oil and gas exploration and extraction. Since we're paying more than $100 per barrel, the additional 1 million barrels extracted domestically per day would save us some 37 billion per year and about 5%. A 5% reduction is a trade deficit. In a trade deficit, shouldn't be easily dismissed. And 5% is still 5% more than what we currently are. The strongest argument for drilling is that the additional crude oil production will offset a small amount of imported oil. As he's written previously, wealth transfer from the mostly democratic oil importing countries to mostly autocratic oil exporting countries isn't good for the world. Therefore, some benefit will come from decreasing the wealth transfer by increasing domestic oil production. My opponent talked about that one fish that he said we're declining even though we're not drilling, and we will decline once we start drilling. Well, if they're already declining, they're going to die anyways. And besides that, another key point made by those who want to open the ANWR is that only 8% of it is what is being proposed. This will mean that the vast majority, 92%, will remain intact. The drilling and production operation will impact only 2,000 acres to produce 15 billion gallons of oil annually. Saying this tiny footprint would spoil the refuge is saying like a major airport along South Carolina's northern border would destroy the entire state scenery and wildlife. He talked about other sources of energy being more efficient. Oil has had some serious advantages over solar. We already developed technology to efficiently convert oil to power. The cost of converting industry vehicles and such to solar or any other power source would be huge. Oil also has an advantage in that it is easier to use in a wide variety of applications, such as vehicles. One simply can't power a vehicle with solar power, not on a particular level. Finally, it is easier to use oil to provide power to massive energy platforms such as electricity for New York City.